Hello, Fellows of the Blue. It's definitely been a week, that's for sure. I'm tired. I mean, my face is usually not good, but it's even worse. I think before we start the review, let me just say a couple things. If someone wants to ask any questions about it, I will answer them, and don't mind what the question is, as long as it's polite and it's not ill intended. If you have any questions, leave them in the chat and I will answer them, but at the end of the review, because this is about the review. And the review is about my patrons and channel members who submit miniatures for me to review once a month, and they are the most important thing to me because they are the people that allow this channel to happen. So if you want to take part in the review or you want to have private tutorings with me, the first time I say it out loud, and if you want to have private tutorings with me, join my Patreon or become a channel member. Well, channel members just for the review. There aren't any tutoring levels on YouTube because it's a mess and I want to coordinate everything in the same place. So if you want private tutorings, you have two options. A slot still available in my Patreon. And in the meantime, this is the review. If you want to take part in the review, what you have to do is join my Patreon or become a channel member in the level Mintimes or above. And once a month, you'll be able to submit minis like the 6 people that have done this here. I have a lot more tier Mintimes or above people, but only 6 submissions because not everyone wants their mini reviewed, and that's fair. So why don't we jump into the review? Let me just check everything is okay. And I will just, one thing, keep the chat being civil. That's all I will say here. And since more people have just joined, if you have any questions about what just happened this past week, ask them, be polite, and at the end of the video I will answer them. And this will be the last time I will ever speak about this because I am very, very tired. Just check everything is working and see if we can move on onto the review. Okay, I think we are set. Have David Dvois, Barry, Moni Mitchell, Pete M, Seppuku, Drioni, Shreddy, and a lot of first reviewers. First review, been excited all day. Juan Rock, hola Juan, hola, hi Juan, hola todos. Good morning from Seattle. From Seattle, that's fantastic. And Team Orange, of course. And funny enough, Team was the first to submit, and as with Team, it's always a pleasure. Look at that magnificent, beautiful vampire. And we're going to talk about slight improvements or slight changes about this. I love this. How is it called? I always forget the name of the thing with the teal and the magenta. You know. You know what I'm talking about. This kind of aesthetic that a team has put into this piece, and it looks really, really, really cool. So, why don't we? Oh, we have someone from Virginia. That kind of explains a lot. Sorry, I'm a bit sick. We are a bit sick. I don't have the virus. It's just that I'm a bit sick. I have a small child that goes to school, and we all get sick from time to time. It's just what happens. So let's talk about Team's miniature here. And he has this kind of double OSL, kind of moonlight with a strong magenta light from one side. It's looking really, really, really cool. I have an issue, especially I'm okay with the front. The front looks fantastic. I'm an issue with the back. Let me just see if I can put this here. Okay, so let me just grab some white. I think you should be able to see everything I'm doing on Photoshop, but just in case. So it's pretty obvious that we have a magenta light coming around here, and we also have a kind of a pinkish light coming from here. So that's, I am okay with that. That reads well. I have an issue with this bit here, because if the magenta light is coming from here, that's what I'm reading, because you see we have a strong light there and a strong light there and a strong light there, so it's implying that the light is coming from somewhere around, or maybe it's hard to do the drawing in 3D, but something about around there, more or less. You get the idea. So this light, this strong magenta light on the top here, shouldn't be there. I think we all, that's my main concern. So what I would do personally is put this magenta, let's see if I can do it. Let me just erase everything. So what I would do, let me grab this magenta, is instead of having this magenta, strong magenta light here, I'm going to grab this. I'm going to erase it. Sorry, Tim. I'm going to basically unpaint your sword hilt here. So what I would do is take this magenta, the strong magenta, and I will place it around here. And I will go with my strong light and place it around there. Feather this out a little bit, you know the deal, something like this. And concentrate light, it seems like light is coming from here, so I'm going to concentrate the strong pink here. And tone down the pink on this side, something like this. And then I will take this kind of pinkish light that's coming from the top, and I will apply it on the top edge here, something like this. There you go. Yeah, happy with how that looks. So like that. Do you see the difference? I think it makes more sense to me this way. Something in this sort of way. We have a question from Nathaniel. Is this a mini is this mini a viewers sending for review? This is a Patreon sending for review. Yeah, Patreons on my tier, Minotaurs or above, can send a miniature for review each month, and I will review them for them, suggest changes that they can do to improve it. So that's what I would do. Another thing that I'm missing, I don't know what's your intentions about this, but I think that if it is such a strong light coming from that to tint the whole cape pink in this side, the vial still should have not just tinted completely pink because it's glass and it wouldn't read as glass if you just blasted with pink, but doing some kind of pink reflections there. And I will pick the strong pink, something like that. I think that helps to sell the effect of the light coming into oh, sorry about damn Windows key. I hate the Windows key. Okay, maybe pick up this edge here to be a strong pink, something like that. Yeah, something like that. I think that reads better. You see the difference? This strong magenta light on the top here doesn't make any sense. Especially, someone can argue that this different color that hidden from the light, it can be like that. But the whole thing is tinted. I mean, the blue sections are completely blue. The pinkish purple sections are completely pinkish purple, and the magenta is completely magenta. So it's clearly intended to be the magenta light, and I don't think it reads that it comes from the same side. And yes, someone is saying, I do appreciate how smooth this paint job is. Yes, Tim is an amazing painter. It's such a pleasure. And I was so happy when he was the first, because it's just such an impact. He also does some of the best NMM that I've seen. Okay. So more things that we're going to talk about. So if it's a strong light magenta light here, I think you should have some strong magenta on more places, like here, at least a little touch of it. I understand that this is more far away, but I think it should have a little bit more of the magenta onto those bits, especially the parts that are metal, because metal would reflect light very well. So even if it's far away from the source of light, I think this should be like this. And you can see the difference here, from here to here, to here, to here, to here, to here. You get the idea. I'm more okay with the front. I think the front looks great, honestly. I know what I'm going to suggest now. It's not based on anything but my personal preference. I know what you were trying to do, which is like 3 colors, like basically can someone put the word of this kind of paint job? I know it has a name. It just escapes my mind right now. And you all know what I'm talking about. But I think I would want some. First of all, to be honest, time I didn't think about the light sources. You may say it was supposed to have no sense. Yeah, I know you were just going about feeling here about some cool colors mixing in, and that's fantastic. But my job is to help you out here, to try to convey the effect in a more, realistic way. I will probably increase the magenta onto the underside of the hair, something like that. Maybe here the hilt, which is metal, adds a little bit of things there. But yeah, the front is basically perfect. It reads exactly what you want. The back, it has a little bit of weirdness going through. That here, I would like to add some changes to make it a bit more coherent, so it reads better. But you were going for the absolutely right idea. I love the feel and the ambience of the piece, which I think is really cool. It's just basically painting with 3 colors, and it really works very well. I think you did a fantastic job. I'm guessing this was done like a sketch with the airbrush. You have some magenta here, and we have some blue, which I guess was also airbrush, but I'm not sure, may not be. At least the base coats. There's a word that I want to say, but yeah, it's a very atmospheric piece, and I think it looks fantastic, Tim. You should be proud, as I know you are, because you know very well the things you do well. Well, that's my cable there. You hear my door bell ringing. That's a cable that I ordered from Amazon that I was hoping it was here in time for the review, so I can plug my second monitor. And yeah, it's arriving a bit late. What are you going to do? Let's move into the second one. That's the last one. Nick wanted to go first, but it's Pete's time. And we have Steve Isaac asking a question. Juan, when will the Express paint be available for purchase? I don't know, but it depends on your shop, on your distributor. let me just make this very clear. I don't work for Vallejo. I don't know anything about the distribution and about when products will be available. My best answer I can give you is what they said to me, which is between November and January, depending on where you live. The closer to Spain you live, the closer it will get to November. Now, technically speaking, Europe should be November, but I don't know. The best thing you can do, a lot of shops are running pre-orders, is ask your local shop, because Vallejo doesn't sell directly. Vallejo sells through distributors, and the best people to know is get to your local shop that sells Vallejo or your common online shop, ask them when they are expecting the express range to drop, and if you don't get an answer, contact Vallejo themselves, and I'm sure they will give you the best answer possible because they are the ones selling it. Oh, Nathaniel said, my supplier said it will be late November in Germany. Yeah, about that. So I know in Spain it's about, they expected to drop the 15th of November. That was when it's officially going to drop. That's what I heard in the last convention that I attended with them. But I have no idea apart from that, because again, I don't work for them. Despite what you may have heard, I don't work for Vallejo. No one here is offering them for pre-order. Some of them had no idea, yeah. I'm guessing you are from the US, Steve, because you say I may have to order them from a European store. So I'm guessing you are from the US. Yeah, Vallejo in the US is a bit of a mess. Just know, even if this doesn't offer much consolation, they know they are a mess in the US. They are aware that there are some serious issues about their distribution in the US. They are trying to work on them to fix it. That's the best thing I know. The last time I spoke to them, which was a bit ago. Okay, let's move into Pete. You can still put questions on in the chat. If they are related to the incident, I will answer them. And if they are related to the incident of this week, I will answer them at the end of the video, which I still want to offer a little bit of not explanation, but a little commentary. That's the word I was looking for. Sorry, sometimes I know it seems for my lovely voice and how fluent I am that I may speak English like a native, but the truth is I'm not a native. Sometimes some words escape my mind, but no one's perfect. Okay, let's move into Pete. Pete has been working on his glazing skills and has been painting using glazes for highlights for a while, and he's very proud of this piece, and he should be. It's very smooth. Highlights are really well done. They are really well placed. There are a couple of places where I would place highlights differently, but to be fair to Pete, I used to place highlights like this not very long ago. I'm just evolving, and we all evolve with time, don't we? It's something very common. We all learn and we all evolve, and we change the way we do things because we find a better way of doing it. So I think this piece looks really, really, really good. I like the skin, I like the pants, I like the two-tone tan kind of thing. And let me explain how I would highlight this now, knowing what I know and how I do stuff now. So for example, you are basically highlighting here in a very heavy metal GW way, and it looks good. It makes the mini super readable, and that's fine. That's fantastic. What I do now, especially for cloths, I started doing this. I remember one of those pieces that kind of broke that mental barrier for me was the Avatar. If you remember the cloth, I don't have it here, it's sold, but if you remember the cloth on the tabard, sorry, that was painted in a more realistic way, and I thought it looked so good that I started to sorry. A little bit of hiccup there. Okay, so what I would do is, considering the light comes from above, so let's just place light. Let me just do another layer so I can turn it off. So considering the light comes from like here, for example, I will place my light there. You see, just on the edge, on the inside, like that, and like that. Just like that. And then I will take my darkest shadow, and that darkest shadow would be directly opposed on the crease here. I hope you see what I'm doing here. Okay, and then I will take a lighter color, probably a pure white, so it reads better on the and then do like, oh, this not, is this pure white? No, it isn't pure white. And then I would do something like this and something like this, something like that. I hope you can see it. This is not perfect because I wasn't doing the paint job on the first place, but something like that. From a more topographical kind of highlight to a more natural highlight, considering where the light is coming and so on and so forth. You all know that deal. But it's a good it's good as it is. The thing that I would work on here, because the skin looks fantastic, the cloth looks good, is the metal. The metallic bits look a bit flat. I know sometimes metallic bits on photos are really hard to do. So what I would do is take, I think you did a wash with something. I'm guessing Nuno or something like that. I'm not sure. But what I would do is try to work the instead of just doing a wash, try to work the shading on the metal with glazes. You were practicing glazes. Yeah, said Pete there. Nuno oil, yeah. Nuno oil is fantastic for an initial recess shade and all that stuff. And I think the next step would be to use, you can use an ink, you can use something like any black ink that you can find. Payne's Gray also works really well here. You can also use even a black acrylic. You can use black Templar, you can use whatever black inkish color, or even black acrylic, as some people use black acrylic. To do some glazes, and as you are practicing glazing right now, I think it can be a good idea. So I would do probably a recess shade around these areas, probably would do some shading here on intuitively I would do it here on the middle of the shoulder armor, just like here. I would glaze some black here, whatever form you want, and you can see just by glazing some black there, look at the difference it makes. It changes completely. It's basically using the principles of non-metallic metal applied to metallic paint. So it's just that. It's just adding more shading in places where you wouldn't add it normally, for that aren't added traditionally for metallic paints. That's a good suggestion by Nathaniel. You can use Black Legion or Black Templar into your metallics to just darken it down and do that glazing as well, yeah. Could you get a screen grab with your mods, please? I will get a screen grab for you. Yes. The white ones are gone, but I will redo them for you, and I will get a screen grab later. So here, for example, at the front of the head, I will probably, depending on where you want your main focus of light to be. But yeah, that is a good question actually. Maybe I will just darken the sides if you want, because this is not the front of the Mini, obviously. So I will just darken this side here. So we have, and I will use a brighter metallic and try to do the highlight here on the middle bigger. These look pretty good because the lights are creating that highlight, but yeah, that's the idea. I hope you can see what I mean. It's creating depth onto the metals. Another thing, for example, here on the gold, you can take the brown that you used to shade it or other brown ink like color and just apply it as glazes over the lower parts to increase the effect. Yeah, to increase. I'm happy with that. To increase the effect of the metallic effect, because if you just rely on the metallics themselves, it kind of looks a bit lacking. That's why we do something like this. And then you can take your bright metallic and just do. I would probably do this kind of fancy highlight here, something like that. Yeah, I'm quite happy with that. Maybe let's grab this brown and darken it down a little bit more so we can add a bit more depth. There you go. There you go. I hope you can see what I mean about adding depth into the metallics. Let me just grab the same brown, and I will do the same here on the crown so you can see. This is something that the heavy metal team is starting to do now, and I think it's a great idea. But it's something that they are recently doing. It wasn't something they were doing before. There you go. So darken it down. So creating volume onto the metallic paints with transparent paints, essentially. Go. And then we can take the gold, do the highlights like that. You should go to the border, but my brush is too big. Let me just, there you go, something like that, and pick up this edge. Of course, we just obliterate it. I hope you see what I'm doing here. And here on the top, something like that. So basically, as I said, applying the concepts of NMM to TMM to create a better result. You can see the difference here. So flat gold, shiny looking gold, and it's just increasing the power of the metallic paints themselves. And you are on the right path, and you are developing the right skills. So now I think it's time to give up the next step and do the same for the metallics as well, to give them a bit more life. Yeah, we have Tabletop Super Show. TMM plays for value is how I do it. I think NMM looks wonky on a 2833 because of size and space allowance. Nice mini and paint job one. It's not mine, it's from Pete, which is in the chat. Pete M in the chat. And yeah, he's a nice mini and it's a nice paint job, and I think he's done a really good job. He's nice. He just has to work the metallics more. Metallic deserves some love. Most people just do a base coat, a wash, and a highlight, like in that order. And I think adding more glazing into your metallics, it gives them a bit more depth, and it helps quite a lot. But yeah, fantastic job. If you want to see a same example, I did the same for Paul in the past month's review. So if you want to see that, that's the point you have to go. Just go there and watch what I did on his sword and stuff like that. So increasing, it's just taking metallics to the next stage. But it's just basically painting NMM but using metallic paint, which helps to sell the effect even more without looking a bit wonky. NMM can look a bit wonky. It can be done really, really, really well, like Richard Gray does, for example. Okay, let's move into. Let me just. I will leave this here, and I will take a screen grab later. let me just do this for you as well. So increasing the shadows here, which is behind the head, for example, and increasing the highlights here with silver, like that. So you can see it's a subtle difference, but look at how much it makes. Subtle difference, but it means a lot. It makes a big impact. So I will leave this here, and I will get a screen grab, and I will send it to you through the Discord server. Thank you very much for your information, Pete. It's amazing. We have Peter now, and Peter has painted his first bust, and it's a beautiful bust. It's one of those busts that I've seen painted by a lot of people recently. It's really good, and we have some good things here and some things to improve. What I feel this lacks is it lacks more highlights. And where are you going to place those highlights? Well, the picture is telling you where to place those highlights, because you use satin paint and you use one source of light to take your picture, and that same source of light is telling you where you want to add your highlights and your extra shadows. You see, you have highlights here, 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 and here, and on the nose here. You want to add more highlights there, and you want to add more shadows into this place, this side of the face, stuff like that. When you're painting a bust, what you want to do is you have to think about not painting a mini, but painting a picture, because it's a different scale. It's a very different feel. You can obviously paint a mini, but the best busts you are going to see online are busts painted in a way that looks like a picture, not like a bust, not like a miniature. Sorry. Just think that. So we have our skin tone. This is our basic highlight they use for the skin. Yes, the Tabertal Super Show, a TMM and NMM fusion for creating contrast. Yes, that's exactly what I'm doing. Some people just call that TMM, but TMM is a bit confusing because it's true metallic metals. It doesn't really make any sense. But yeah, it's basically using the highlight pattern for NMM, but using metallic paint, so the effect sells better on smaller miniatures. It's something if you see minis from the heavy metal team from now and the heavy metal team from 10 years ago, it's something that is a big difference, and you can really tell that's something that they work on quite a lot as a team to improve. Things I like here, so you added the hairs on the beard. That's something I like, something that is done usually done on bust, and it's a great idea. It's a large enough scale that adding the individual hairs makes sense. It's a good thing to be done. So what would do here? We have this skin tone, which is the skin tone used for the main highlight, for the brightest highlight. What I will do is shift it into the yellows, and I will probably add something like ice yellow into this, which is this color more or less. Makes it would go something like this, and then I will also add the ice yellow itself, so something like that. Yes, something like that. So I will start with this highlight color, just a bigger brush, yeah. And I will place my highlights intentionally directional. I think directional highlights for bust looks just so good. That's my own opinion, of course. And don't be afraid of doing highlights more aggressively. I'm going to so I can simulate better the effect. You have to highlight here, you have to highlight here, you have to highlight this section here, this side, and this bit here. Important, this part here, it always catches light and people miss it. It's irrelevant on small scale minis, but it's really important on large scale minis. I'm going to take a smaller brush now, and you have to pick up this part here, which always catches light, just like that. And this is just a basic sketch of a highlight, but it does make quite an impact. Let me just make the fake brush. There you go. I think I'm just going to go straightly into adding white here now, instead of using that other highlight. And the next step would be just to increase that even more. On bust, you can go mad with how much you can increase your highlights. You can increase the value to ridiculous levels. But placing it correctly, it just reads well. Okay, there you go. Something like that. I think this looks better. You can tone down the yellow. I could agree with that. Let me just see if I can. Just see if I can shift. There you go. You can shift it from the yellow into a more natural hue if you want, like I'm just doing here. So that's an option. But you can because it was maybe a bit too much. But you can see what I mean here. You can see what I mean about this. So it changes dramatically what you are painting, essentially. Again, let me just tone this down. Let me just grab this color again. Okay, so the same should be done on the neck, for example, on this area. This whole area should be highlighted a bit more dramatically. All of this on this side, all of this, like that, you know, that kind of deal. Something I like to do, oh, also, we haven't added, so you did all of the hairs on the beard. I like that, that's a good touch. And I would add some hairs onto the chest as well, because why not? You can do it. So let me just, no, we need a 100% hard brush. We need more opacity. Just add the same you did on the beard, just add some random, very thin lines, just like that. I think it would add, you know, kind of feel, you know, kind of the same vibe. Also, we have the lips here, which I think we should tone a little bit more onto the pink side. Just a little bit. Oh no, that doesn't work. I think I have to do it differently. No, it doesn't work either. It's sometimes some things are harder with the computer than they are with the brush. There you go. I think this is going to be better. Maybe the shade of pink is not the most ideal one, but we are going to go. We're going to go with this. No, that doesn't work. What a mess. Okay, let me go back. Ah, that was so awful. That's a good question from Maledictus. I have plans for painting vehicles on my channel. I hate painting vehicles, that's why I don't paint them on the channel. But I do have a vehicle ready to be painted. I want to do like an intro kind of video to airbrushing. So maybe I will do it. This is working now better. Yeah, I like that better. So the upper lip should be dark. That's okay. And the lower lip should be... I think we've gone a bit too far here. Let me just see if I can... Sometimes, I told you, sometimes things are... No. Okay, I can work with this. I think... Oh, damn Windows key. I hate you. So now we're going to do the same on the lip. We're going to grab our flesh tone that we use for the highlights, and the idea is just to highlight these like that sort of thing. No, not on the top lip. No, like that. And then just grab the same highlight color and just place it like in the direction of the light, like a small dot, something like that. Something like that. It's a bit too red. I will admit that. please get on with me. Then you have to get your shadow color. If you've done this, but you should mix your shadow color with a little bit of the red, and you should mix your highlight, your main color with a little bit. You have to mix it. I'm just trying to reproduce what I would do. There you go. With the Photoshop, it's not as easy. It's a different workflow. So that you can see the massive difference that it makes to the miniature just by doing this, something like this. You see, changes completely. It looks more natural. Something that some painters do, but not all do, is add what they call a cut light. But I don't think the way of doing this for you will work. But they will be basically it would just add, for example, a different hue, for example, a purple color. Let me just grab a quick lilac color, something like this. Maybe a little more, yeah, something like this. For example, this is just an example. I'm going to undo it basically now, but I just want to show you. So if you paint it like this, imagine all these shadows that you've painted, that you have on your picture because of your light. Imagine those were painted. So what they do is you see this light here, this reflection from the wall, they painted. I did that on my bust. And you just go and paint it with a light that feels different, something like this, for example. You add it here. You basically paint everything. So you use this light, this cut light, to define these areas of shadow on the bust. Look how cool that looks! Come on, it's a very cool thing to do, but sadly it means that the bust will only look good from one side. That's the payoff that you're doing. But look at how different if you treat this as a flat picture instead of as a 3D object. How cooler this looks. From this to this. It's a completely different piece. I will admit that, and you may not want this, but it really gives a very cool look, and it's something that bust painters do a lot, just because it helps frame everything, and it helps it make it look cooler. There you go. So that's my advice. You have everything. You have your red and tones under the cheek. You have your highlights more or less done. You have your detail, like the texture on the hair, on the beard. My advice would be, you may not want this cut light done. You may not want that kind of stuff. You want, because you have to paint extremely dark shadow on one side, and then if you turn, it doesn't look good. But it's this kind of consideration that you have to do when you're painting busts, is how can I make it stand out and make it look cool. And one idea is, as I said, treating it as a 2D picture. So imagine the view you want to make, but even if you meet, let me just delete all of the purple light. Imagine you don't want that. There you go. There you go. Even without that, just the extra highlights. When you're painting a bust, the most important thing is you paint it until you think you are done, and then you keep painting. You just keep painting and keep painting and keep painting, because it's not done. And remember, highlights like this plane here, this inside of the eye here, very important to catch it, because it's very natural. It's one of those things that if it's not there on a large scale, our brain knows it's not there. And don't be afraid of pushing your highlights onto almost pure white that we did here, especially on the forehead. Look at that, look at the difference. Look at how much of a difference that makes to the bust. And if you liked painting this bust and you want to paint more, if you want to paint more bust and you want to explore other options, you have the option of the catalyte that we talked about previously. So I really hope that helps, Peter. And we're going to move into the next one. We have Paul here, and Paul has done his first NMM sword. It doesn't look, it looks super cool. It looks a bit like a crystalline kind of sword, but I think there are very good things here. First of all, the Harlequin himself looks fantastic. It's really well done. The diamond shapes are, they could be cleaner, but they always can be cleaner. But it's really, really well done. It's pretty clean. It looks fantastic. All the freehand is well done, and he's a Harlequin, so he's an elder, so he's just cool, just because. But he wanted advice on the sword specifically, which is the first time that he's done it. The only things that I will look at, those gradients, man, smooth. That's really good, Paul. My only concern, for example, is that the stars that he had painted are a bit too big. So let me just erase them. Oops. Just erase them, and we will. They are the right idea, but if you want to do that, you have to do it smaller. I know it's hard, but you have to do it smaller. I will also delete this kind of dots, and we will work on that later. So with all of that, this looks nice. Let me just grab this pure white color. It's a nice sword, yeah. And Tim said that. So if Tim's, which is the NMM master here, says that it's good, and then it's good. So you have to try and do this smaller. It's not a bad idea, but they have to be smaller. Something like that. And let me show you the difference. You see, smaller. I know it's very difficult, but it's better to not do them than to do them large. You do them large, they don't look natural. So like that, and just add them here at these spots where are easy to add. I wouldn't add them a spot like here. It might look a bit confusing. I think this is enough. It's enough to catch the attention. Something I'd like to do with NMM swords, or with this kind of sword. Thanks him. Yeah, much better. Thank you, thank you, Paul. Paul is here. Paul is amazing. Is add a bit of tones. So, for example, we can take a blue. I think a teal will be ideal here. Shady says, a little too consistent on the spacing on them. Yeah, probably, but it's not a bad thing. I know adding variation is good, but for a kind of a crystalline sword like this, I think it's a good... For a power sword, I think it looks good. I think it's a good idea. I will probably add hues here. Let me just go with me for a bit. I will add a little bit of teal onto the top. I'm going to tone it down with the white now, so don't be afraid. So something like this. Something like that. You should add it here as well, because it's also reflecting the sky. And then we can add... I think we can add this kind of ground color. We should add it onto the back, but we're going to just glaze a little bit of this into this plane of the sword. And here in the middle, I think would be a cool idea. This kind of cool things. Look at how cool that sword looks now. Very subtle, but adding hues, a little bit of hue into your fantasy swords, I think it's a good idea. But apart from that, I already told you, this is a really cool looking piece. I like it a lot. This is fantastic. I'm guessing this is for a display, and I think it's a fantastic display idea. Yeah, I mean, the only change I would do if you want to maintain just the black and white is do the reduce the number of spots and reflections and things, and the ones that you do, concentrate them on the middle and make them smaller. If you want to add some hues, that's my idea about them. One thing I would change personally is the is the placement of these reflections. Let me just... That could also be a change here. Let me just grab this. I will probably extend this highlight like so. Something like this. You know, I like to play a lot when doing this. I'm exploring ideas, but this is another thing that feels like it would look better if instead of having two highlights, like one dot on the top and the other highlight there, it would just make it bigger. Yeah, I like that better. If you do like a bigger highlight here when the sword starts to curve, that helps quite a lot to convey that volume better. Oh, he says he's going to put an entire unit on this base. It's going to look awesome. Yeah, man, go for it, man. That's going to look so cool. But yeah, that's really the only thing I would change. This paint looks great. I mean, it's all well done. It's good. The metallics look good. You can probably highlight the gold on up to a pure silver. Let me just do that. I'm going to maybe. But again, this is one of those things that it's very personal. It's also really hard to showcase because it's. I don't feel like you've gone on to pure silver, but I think that it would be an interesting idea. There you go. Something like that. So I will probably increase the highlights on the gold up to a silver. If it's silver there, then just forget what I just said, and I will just work on the swords. I like less of this divisions, but a bit larger. That's my personal liking here. Let me just modify the bottom one as well to see if I like it better. Let me just grab this. Yeah, I kind of like that better. You may want more, and this all depends on the feel you want for your piece here. So it really depends, but I kind of like that look. It's just my opinion. I like less separations and more smooth and smoother. Like you can feel the work on the blending. I like that personally. And yes, Paul, thank you, Paul, for submitting this. It's quite amazing. And Darion's style, yeah, it's started in Darion's style, yeah. It's this is all very reminiscent of Hendarion's work. I love how Hendarion's paint. He has such a beautiful blending. It's really, really, really nice. The only thing I like a bit less about him, even if he just please consider this. I feel like I now have to measure all my words, but he's an amazing painter. He's way beyond my own skill, but I think it's not the best at choosing color schemes. I would just say that. But apart from that, he's pure madness what this man can paint. It's quite amazing. Well, let's move into Christian. And Christian has painted a beautiful werewolf. This looks fantastic. He has like a ghost coming from a pool on the base. Super cool. I mean, like, pretty cool paint job. Pretty cool mini for Blood Bowl. He painted the fur and everything, and looks like fur. It really looks like real fur. The highlights on the, look at that toenail. I mean, I know this is a stupid detail, but I love this kind of stupid details. So we have this toenail here, and it's highlighted from the outer cell on the side, and the other one, oh, it's so beautiful. I love that. I love that kind of shit. What's my only concern with this paint job? My only concern with this paint job is that his pants, and these are pants. I think we don't have. These are his pants. His pants are blue. And the issue when you look at it is that you look at this and you don't feel these are pants. You feel like this is oversell that somehow is bouncing off something. It's oversell badly done. That's how it reads, because the pants are the same color as the ghost, or very close to it. What I would do is change the color of the pants. Simple as that. I will do that for you. Let me just see how can we do this. Okay. I think this can work. Well, it's going to be more or less. I don't like that as shit. Selection job. You can do better, Juan. You can do better. Not much better, but I can do better. Okay, there you go. Let me see if I can change that. Okay. I'm going to put them red as the armor. There you go. Or purple. I think purple is a good idea, but I'm just going to do red just because it kind of goes with the team thing. And then you just have to grab the OSL colors, so this kind of blue, and just paint it. And you will see oh no, it's that. Go to the blue. Okay. And you just paint the OSL on the lower bits, and instantaneously it stops looking like a bad OSL and looks fantastic. Look at that difference between. I just did it on the normal layer, didn't I? Yeah, I did. Okay. Yeah, I'm an idiot. Let me just do it correctly so I can show the effect. It looks cool when I show the change. Okay. There you go, like that. So it's a massive difference when you go from this, which that blue is just melting with the OSL. It doesn't work, to this. Changes completely the miniature. It reads completely different, and it feels better. you feel the OSL better. So what you're doing is you are selling the OSL better, and you are not muddying the colors, because yes, from the back it looks like a pan, but from the front, which with the ghost there, it looks like a badly done OSL. So have that in mind. That's what I would do personally. There you go. That's it. I will also add, even if it's not in exactly the way, I will add an OSL here on the armor and on the paws here, just like that. Also on this lower side here and there, just like that. Look at that. Look at that. I like it. There you go. That will be my only change here. The fur is fantastic, fantastically done, Christian. I really mean it. It's one of the best furs I've seen on a miniature of this scale. So that's something to be said. And let's move into the last one. This is Nick, and Nick has submitted a lovely looking elder ranger, and his choice of colors are not my preferred. You know, I like to paint like super bright paint jobs, but for a ranger, it looks fantastic. And things that I would change. Oh, the eyes are really well done. Look at the eyes. That's good. I like it. Well done, Nick. That is great. So Nick, I think Nick's in the chat, and I think he was being quite excited about this for a while. So I really hope you like it. You did a fantastic job. Things that I would change is a bit talk about cleanliness, about definition and cleanness in your paint job. So things like this. Let me just grab a dark brown here. For example, this. The skin on the face is from, yeah. This is a great paint job, but we have some issues with cleanliness, and I know cleanliness is not easy, and it may not be what you want for your painting style, and that's perfectly okay. But including a bit of cleanliness in a ambience kind of paint job, an atmospheric kind of paint job like this is, it looks fantastic. I think it helps quite a lot. So things like being more careful about how you define these nodules, for example, with the dark, oh, you need a darker color here. There you go. There you go. So defining all these nodules better with the recess shade around them, like this, like this, like this. It makes for a more readable paint job. You see the difference? Oh, he just commented, I do want to paint cleaner. It's a struggle. I know it's a struggle. It's one of those things that it's easy to point out to a person that just sent a miniature for review. It's very easy to say you need to paint cleaner, but it's something that is really difficult to teach, and it's really difficult to learn. And the only way to do it is just go slowly. For example, if you're painting those nodules, one thing you can do to have them more defined is when you've painted all of the shaft and everything, instead of trying to doing the recess shade around them with the brush, with like I would do, a easier way to do it is just paint the whole nodule dark. So you take your darkest color, you paint the whole nodule dark, and then you just highlight it again very carefully. So it's another way to paint cleanly is to paint from the inside out. So you start with this is how I was taught to paint when I try to paint like historic scale miniatures. Is you start with the eyes, then you clean the eyes with the flesh tone, then you clean the flesh tone with the hair and the neck, for example, and then you clean all those areas with the layer on top, and you go cleaning you're painting from the inside out. So the next piece of thing that is on top of your miniature will clean itself when it's painted. So it's an easier way of being clean. At least that's my opinion. But you have super good things on your favor. For example, I like your color palette. It's not my color palette, but I like it. I think it's really good. I like this super desaturated hues. I like how you highlighted the rifle here. It's really cool. This whole area here is super cool. Just with the recess shade added, it just changes so much, and it helps define everything. And then you have the right ideas, and you have the right you have a very cool atmosphere. You just need to work on your cleanliness. I know it's not easy. I know it's not easy. Another thing is you have your leather here, and in some points you have some coffee stain, like here. This is something you also need to work with. One solution is to use some medium to thin this paint so it doesn't leave this coffee stain. Lamy medium works really well for that. I know a lot of people don't like it, but it really works very well for that. Other is just go back and treat it as a highlight. You can just pick the same color, just fill that up. So it's not longer a coffee stain, it's just a stain. There you go. There you go. Just like that. And it really does change quite a bit. Maybe not. Maybe not for you. But if you're having issues with coffee staining, adding medium to I'm guessing is only for certain colors. It's just certain paints, certain colors that are more prone to do that. So if you learn to identify those, you can know which colors to thin with medium and which colors to thin with water so they don't break. So that's another option. Yeah, but apart from that, I really like it. It has such a cool vibe. The face is fantastic, and the whole piece looks fantastic. Another thing here, for example, in the cape, you are highlighting the cape in what I like to call a topographical way. So this part is, let me just grab a red so you can see what I mean. This part is lower, so you don't highlight it. This part is raised, so you highlight it. Same here. This whole area is raised on the volume, and you highlight it. This part is raised, this part, and so on and so forth. But there is a problem here, and the issue is that that's not how light works. Light, in this case, for example, you can see how your own light is telling you where the highlight should be. You see this here? This is light catching, and if this were a real cloak on a real sunny day, light would catch there because it's directly perpendicular to the light source. So you want to highlight. Oops. Whoa. Why is it doing that? There you go. You want to highlight this area. Also, I can see that you have some issues with the how thin the paint is and opacity and stuff like that. But that's a different that's a conversation for a different topic. But we're now talking about how to improve this. So this would be a more natural highlight of that cape. And tell me, look at this and look at this. Which one of those looks real? The second one looks real because that's how light works, and your brain understands it. The problem is your brain understands it subconsciously, but it's not able to tell your conscious part of the brain, this is how you should put your highlights on this miniature. It's very tricky, I know, but this is the kind of things that you have to learn slowly so you can become a better painter. I'm going to do the highlighting here for you. Same here, same on the inside here. and there. Look at that. And you turn from this into this, and it looks better. Highlighting cloth is tricky. But using reference pictures helps. But you're doing, I mean, I'm not even adding more highlights because it's not your style. It doesn't feel like something that fits with this kind of moody paint job. But yeah, try to understand better how light behaves on cloth, and work with paint that breaks on you. So if you're having issues with that, it can be that you're thinning it too much. It can also happen when you have too much paint on the brush. So you have too much paint on the brush, too much paint gets deposited on the miniature, and as it dries, it leaves a coffee stain because it breaks. So try solutions. Use medium that will stabilize the pigments. Lamy medium. I use lamy medium. When I have to do that, I use lamy medium. But you may not have lamy medium, or you may not use citadel paint. Something like glaze medium will also work. Whatever acrylic medium you have, it will work for this. And the other solution is to have less paint on your brush. Try to make super thin glazes that dry almost immediately, so you don't leave opportunity to the paint to break on you. That's basically it. It looks fantastic. I really like it. You did a fantastic job. And Howard Ice Office Chamber says the texture on the holsters is glorious. Yeah, look at this. This is fantastic. This looks really good. The gems are good. Everything is good. I really like it. But you need to work on your highlight placement and on your cleanliness. That's basically it. Let me just close this down and put me on the live stream again. Oh, hello. Why am I not being focused on? I don't know what to do to the camera focuses on me. Is the autofocus broken? Oh my god. I think it hasn't focused on me during the whole review. Is that a possibility? It is a possibility. That can happen. Because I'm the worst. Okay, let me just put the chat back. I don't want to lose the chat. Where is my chat? There you go. I have the chat again. Also, the camera is super bright for some reason. Wait a second, please. I'm going to try and fix it. Wait a minute. Okay, much better now. My camera, I think it was doing stuff, but I think it was just completely crazy. Okay, we are here. Luckily, I'm happy to not have found any comments about the incident, which I'm happy. I just want to leave that behind. I kind of want to say a couple things though before I close this. So, what makes me the most mad about all of this is that there is a very interesting article to be written about content creators, brands, and conflicts of interest. I really believe this is a very interesting article. This is a very interesting topic, and because we have a really weird relationship me here, you there, and the brands as a whole. And I think it's a very interesting article to be written, and it could have been an amazing opportunity for Rob to write a very interesting article, a very like a, they just call it a journalistic redemption. He had that chance, and instead of taking it and taking that good premise and writing a good article about it, he chose to twist it into a hit piece on me personally for some reason that I just don't understand. It just saddens me, because it's a very interesting topic and it's a lot to talk about, but just don't make it about one person. For example, and let me just be a devil's advocate here. I don't think this, okay? Let me just point this out. This is just me playing devil's advocate. I'm 100% sure this is not the case. I know those people, they are very good people, and I know this is not what has happened. But imagine this. I think it's equally, it can be equally bad to work for a competitor brand and do a bad review of a product just to tank it. But what is to say about writing an overly good review and then starting working for the same company? Again, this is that's not what happened, but it's also a very interesting conversation to have there, and to think about and to reflect. This is a very complicated topic, and we all learn and we all mature together, because this is very new. This is for the hobby community. All of this content creation, and we as reviewers, and you as viewers, and the brands and stuff like that. It's a very complicated thing, and it's also very new, and we have to learn together, and we all make mistakes, obviously, but at least trying. But it's again, what saddens me the most is you almost had a good article there, and you twisted it into something horrific, which made no sense whatsoever. And that's something. If Rob had written a good article, like unbiased, with a lot of points of view, and I would have commented on it, I would have shared it, and I would have had my answer about it, because I think that it's very important. Again, the premise was good, and then it was turning to that, and that's what. And then he, in his subsequent editorials, let's just say, he has been turning the dial down while trying to portray me as a bad guy, instead of just saying, okay, yeah, the article wasn't good, but it's a good thing that we should talk about conflict of interest in this hobby and in the reviews. And I think it's a good topic to talk about, and it just moddens me that instead of doing that, he for once in years, Spiky Bits could have had a good journalistic piece of content, and instead he just wrote that, and it just maddens me. It just can't figure out why would you do that. It really does. But it's just to talk about. That's all I want to say. Okay, we all learn from this. There were reasons why I couldn't talk about my involvement, legal reasons, and on top of that, I honestly, at the time of doing it, it didn't even cross my mind, because I would have made the same review. Was I working with Vallejo testing their paints or not? It just makes. Why would I want to tank another paint reviewer, another paint brand? It makes no sense. What am I going to get from it? What's the reasoning? I don't win money with Vallejo sales. I wish, but I don't have a commission on sales. I don't have anything. My involvement was just testing paints and trying to make the best paint possible. And I remember clearly, because speed paints were the first thing that any brand had sent me prior to release for review. I was so excited. And if you asked my my patrons that were there at the time at the Discord server, I was so excited. I really want to love this product. I was ready to introduce them into my regular videos. The idea I had when I got the boxes, I'm going to test them, I'm going to demonstrate them, and then I'm going to use this and all of the contrast type products that come in the future to make my videos, all of them. So it looks like the more tools, the better. And sadly, the product isn't for me. Is it a bad product? No, I said it in my review. It is a good product. It does the thing that it wants to do magnificently well. Better than contrast paint. I said that in the review. That's another thing that pisses me. My review was positive. I said it does this better than contrast paints. The issue here is it has a property. I said in the past the word flaw. I think a better word would be property, because when you develop a paint, and it takes a long, hard work, it's a very difficult thing to do. Not for the testers, we just test paint and say this, I don't like this, but there's people behind a product, and we sometimes forget about that. And it takes it takes a lot of work, a lot of effort, a lot of people has worked really hard on that, and they chose the properties of their paints with a specific goal in mind. And for that goal, it's perfect. It's really, really, really good. It works fantastically well. But I thought I was getting a kind of product, and it turns out it wasn't the product that I wanted. Still, I reviewed it positively. Not only that, but I encourage people that if that's what they wanted, they should buy it over contrast paints. The only thing I did in the review was point out something that the manufacturer haven't talked about at that time. It was nowhere to be seen in their literature. It was not explained that you should varnish between layers, and thanks to my video, they did. And as I said in the time and time again in Twitter, I had good contact with Army Painter prior to the review, post-review, and even after this incident. I've been talking to Adam Abramovich constantly through all of this. This is not nice for anyone involved, not Army Painter, not me, not Vallejo, not anyone. I want to make something very clear. This is not a real controversy. This is all fabricated. Paint brands are not enemies of one another. They are our friends. All of the brands know each other. All of the guys working there know each other. They are all old friends and good friends. And everyone wants everyone else to succeed. Believe it or not, that's the case. Because, let me tell you this. I've been there. No one wants to go back to the times where only 2 paint brands were available. Those times were horrible. No innovation was happening. No incentive to make your paints better over time, because it wasn't a competition. It was an expensive brand and a cheap brand. That's all that was. There was times were awful. Look at now. I have all of the paints, and only Vallejo is a small part of this. All of this is Citadel. I have the whole range. I'm not a Vallejo agent. It's just stupid. I use all the paints. I'm an independent reviewer and independent painter. It's just, why would you do that to a person that just made a review showcasing something that I wasn't even the first one to do? Dude. There is something to talk about conflict of interest. Of course, there's a fair thing to say, and it's a fair thing to talk about, but not that way. There's better ways of doing this. I would just say that. That's all I have to say about that. I maybe should have taken the crown off for this, but maybe. But what are you going to do? Okay, let's see if we have some questions in the chat. Tiraraya says, in Spanish, Juan, all the content you make is in English. Yes, all the content I make is in English. Sí, todo el contenido que hago es en inglés. I want to explain why. When I started making videos, I was a nobody. Literally nobody. I started making sculpting videos because I always liked sculpting. I worked as a sculptor for Urban Mammoth for a while, and even did some tests for Corpus Belli. It didn't work out for both sides, but no hard feelings there, nothing. It just their workflow didn't match mine, and whatever. They are good people. And yeah, I started making sculpting videos just because why not? I was a sculpting. It takes a long time. I just put the camera and started recording whatever, and just going to make sculpting videos. And after a while of just painting for me, for my armies, or whatever, friends started asking, "Hey, can you tell us how you painted whatever?" And I said, I always explain them. And after a while, I was just getting tired of explaining the same shit over and over again. So I said, okay, I'm just going to make a video. Please don't ask anymore. And I started making those videos. I remember I did the red, the green. Then I did the blue, which was my first video where I talked to camera. It was something really weird to do. But no one knew me. So if I started making videos, when I started talking to the camera, so my initial idea was not talk to the camera and just have them to be universal, so to speak. The issue there is that you kind of have to speak to the camera to explain what you're doing. It just makes the videos better. So when that time came, I chose English because, first of all, I can speak English rather well. Thankfully to my parents for giving me a nice education and good opportunities. And secondly, most people, you are opening yourself to a bigger market. That's basically all. And people like Ángel Giraldez can choose to do it in Spanish because they are Ángel Giraldez. They were known before they started the YouTube channel. They were already famous for our very niche community, but famous anyway. I was a nobody. Nobody knew me. I haven't ever win a Golden Demon. I haven't win nothing. So I just started doing videos in English because that opened my channel to more people. The issue is, once you get it rolling, more people are asking, why don't you do videos in Spanish? Because my audience is mainly English speaking. Simple as that. Peter M. There's definitely possibilities for bias, conscious or unconscious, especially with how nuanced it can be. Yes, that's the thing. There is a possibility, and it's an interesting conversation to have. But the problem is when the person starting the conversation, it just doesn't start. It starts with insults and libel. It's just not the right way to do it. Yeah, right. Well, he did another post like 20 minutes ago. Yeah, I've seen it. I mean, the only thing I want is just for this to stop because I haven't slept well for days. This is causing me issues with my mental health, and I just want to move on. I just finished recording this tutorial. I'm painting the vase right now. I will post it as soon as I can edit it, basically. I have very cool projects ready. Oh yeah, I have a lot of boxes there. I'm going to show it to you. Why not? Let me just grab all the boxes. So, I have all of these boxes. I have this guy. I have this guy. I have these guys. I have this and this. And all of this is going to be used on the same miniature. Just one miniature. This one. Guess what I'm going to make with it? I will let you guess, but it's going to be pretty damn exciting. It's going to start with the conversion video, with sculpting and everything, and then I will do a painting video about it, because I think it's going to be very cool. I'm very excited about that. I also received the Goth Rocker, which I plan to paint for Christmas, as I did in previous years. I didn't do it the last year because the mini was basically the same as the red gobbo on foot, and I thought it was a bit boring. What more projects do I have in my... Oh, yes! Wait a second. I don't know if I can show this to you. Can I show this? I don't know. I'm not sure I can. I'm not sure I can. Okay, let's just say this. I have an Imperial Guard project. And the first video is also going to be conversions. How many conversions? I think I'm going to do 5 or 4. Not sure. About those. Very exciting. Okay, let's just keep reading the comments. Nathaniel, he hurt himself more by his recent actions. Yes. I mean, to be fair and to be honest, this hasn't really hurt me at all. And I've said this. I've actually spoken to a lawyer about this. And this hasn't hurt me. Pretty much the opposite. Everything related to my social media and socials and Patreon, everything has gone up. So I just want to move on. This is enough for me. I just want to move on and forget about this. This is not good for me, not for my family, which luckily they have been kept quite separate from all of this, so that at least I have that. But this is not good for anyone, and it's affecting me in how I treat people in my normal life. I just want to move on. That's why I deleted all of my funny replies. Because although I stand by what I said, I don't think it's doing any favors to anyone. As I said in the post, everyone that's seen it has already seen it. That is important. Everyone that like it, that I really care about, has seen it and has commented and reacted and all of that. And if you want to see them, they are in his article. Because, to be fair, if he just deleted the article, even without apologizing, I would be okay. But he just keeps on going, and I just want to forget it, so I will do that. As long as he doesn't do anything stupid, I will be okay. Money Mitchell, maybe this has been said, but wouldn't your experiences with the reactivating properties of speed paints have helped shape your work with the express color in a positive way to the consumer? No, because the thing is about the reactivation is it's something very rare, something very weird. It's not necessarily bad. I understand where they ended up, but it's a very weird thing to have landed in. The thing is, they pushed the super smooth finish so much that the paint ended up doing that. It's just a consequence, but they were going for the ultra smooth finish, and I totally get it. It's something fair, because they want the product design to do a specific thing really well. But most paint manufacturers are going to look into a paint that it's more global. If you're designing an acrylic paint, you want your acrylic paint to have acrylic paint properties, and reactivation is not one of them. Reactivation is something you expect from oils. But oils not really. Oils it's not really reactivation. It's more sort of not drying. It's a slow drying time, but something like watercolors. They are different things. Watercolors and acrylics are not the same thing. They're completely different mediums. So when you get a paint that has watercolor properties, but it's labeled as acrylic, that's when some problems might happen. That being said, I understand where they got there. I had long conversations about this with Adam. He's the nicest guy in the world. And yes, it's just that they designed the paint to do one thing very well, and that's fair. That's fair on them. It does do that thing extremely well. It's amazing how flat and how smooth they are. It's just not paint for my workflow, sadly. Sadly, and I say sadly, I'm really looking forward to see what they are doing to change it so it's more appealing to more people. I'm really excited about that because despite what some people think, the army painter people are amazing. They are very hardworking and they love what they do. They are very passionate about what they do. Howard Halby very nicely said, "You are a better man than I am to be so fair in these circumstances," which speaks about the quality of your character. I mean, you've seen my snarky, my spiteful side a little bit in this thing, but you don't know how hard it is to push me over the edge. It's really difficult. You really have to push a lot. I'm a big dude. You really have to be pushing a lot, and yeah. Luckily, I'm also have the ability to forget and very quickly. Maybe not forgive, but I will forget about it. Tabletop Super Show. I remember starting with actual texture paints back in the 80s, and I can tell you that these were the dark ages of painting minis. Exactly. I was there when the only two brands was Citadel and Vallejo in acrylics. This was the only two brands. And it wasn't a nice place to be. You didn't want that because it doesn't strive for innovation. More companies producing content, the more companies that make paint, the better. You want a lot of people making paints. You want a lot, all of them. I want all of them to succeed. When I review a product, this is something that you don't know. As a reviewer, when you review a product and you don't like it, that's the worst thing in the world. Because you don't want to put out, I mean, I guess some people will want to put bad reviews, but I don't want to put a bad review. It's not good. It's something awful. You feel like shit doing it. Like actual shit. You feel like the worst human being in the world when you put out something and it's not like a super positive, super happy review. It's not good. But you have to do it. If you find something that is not advertised or it is not expected, you have to notify about that. That's my responsibility as a reviewer. And if I didn't do that, that would have been a bad decision. That's my point of view. I stand by my review. My initial review was fair and positive, and I stand by it. It was so fair that our Army Painter offered me a sponsorship deal, which some of you may not know. And it was a lot of money, and I turned it down because the conditions weren't something that I could agree with. They wanted editorial review of the videos, 3 videos in total, and in the end I just had to say no because I want to be the owner of my words and not have them controlled by anyone. That being said, I always want to give my honest opinion. That being said, I will say something about positive about Army Painter. That's that they do make very good products. I have the shades down there, which are amazing. Probably the best shade products I've used, especially over metallics. In general, but I really like them. Some of the metallic paints are really good as well. And let me tell you this. Probably the product I recommend the most to people lately is the Army Painter Air range. If you have an airbrush, you just bought an airbrush and you want a good set of air paints, get the Army Painter air paints. They are really good. Surprisingly good. Even with brushwork, they are really good paints. Fantastically good paints and cheap. They are perfect. They are just amazing. So buy them. They are good they haven't paid me to say this, obviously. They are good paints. They make fantastically good paints. I just think, for example, the Warpaint range is a bit outdated. The same way the Vallejo game color was outdated. The old Vallejo game color range wasn't good at all. The new one is amazing because it's been brought up to the modern days. I really think the Warpaint should be brought up to the modern days. It is a range that has potential, and I think it can be elevated to a better place just by making it into a more modern formulation, because what was okay 10-15 years ago is not okay anymore. There are new players in the game. Because there is more competition, people are getting used to better paints. More competition is better for everyone. AK has entered the game with a 3rd gen paints. Look at those. They are right there. So good paints. They're fantastically good paints. Surprisingly good paints. We have Chimera there with the single pigment. There's been innovation. There's been variety. And I think Army Painter has potential. It just needs to sit down and say, okay, our air paints are fantastic. Let's just work now on our war paints. That's all. They work for some people, and I'm okay with that. If they work for you, fantastic. They don't work for me, sadly, and that's nothing bad. Okay, let me see where I was. Pit M, best contrast was to glaze copper and also gold. Okay, that's a good idea. So to glaze copper, for the initial shadows, I will probably use something like Cygor Brown. And then I will use, for just the last shadows, the later ones, I will probably try to use something that has a bit of blue or green in it. Something like the no, blue is not. Probably Pterodon Turquoise or Croxicor Scales, just for the final shadows. Or I will just use Incubi Darkness, if I'm honest, because I may want a little bit of opacity on that blue-green, maybe. Anyone remember Poly S acrylics? I didn't. They weren't sold anywhere around me. Infernal Brush. Hey, Infernal Brush! Stay positive, fun. We all love your content and are on your side. Some people just want controversy when it isn't any. There isn't any. In my recent, I just attended a convention with Vallejo in Talavera. It was the biggest. I think it was the biggest Warhammer 40k tournament, team tournament in the world. And Vallejo went there. They asked me if I wanted to go, and I did. And I remember we had Ammo Mick on one side, and we had Scale 75 in front of us. Everyone, and Griefs of World Wars were also a couple of stands on that side. Everyone is friends with everyone, like super friendly. I have a picture in my phone with Mick Jimenez. Mick Jimenez subscribed to my channel in front of me. He even clicked on the bell icon and everything. He's a fantastic dude. Super nice guy. He sat on our stand and tried our Express and tried the Express and the Game Color range. He said they were fantastic. There is no drama, there is no competition, and there is no bad faith between companies. This is just all made up. No one is trying to hit other paint company to hurt them. That's just stupid. It's just childish. It's not a thing. Okay, everyone knows each other. They are all friends and good old friends for years and years. That's not a thing. Trying to create controversy for the sake of clicks is just not the thing to do. Ace of Fish Chambers. Infernal, come to see you paint the Golf Rocker. Oh, I'm really looking forward. I remember I've had that mini for a while now, but I just couldn't start with it. And I was watching Infernal Brush Twitch stream, which you should go watch his Twitch stream. It's fantastic. If you like good painting, just go and watch it. He is mind blowing. And I was watching, and someone said Golf Rocker, the new Golf Rocker, and he just stopped the whole stream just to go and look at the mini. It's so good. It's such a cool mini. You got to love orcs. It's something special about them. Ribo007. That's the best thing, Juan. Focus on your own success and content. It won't mention the garbage again. I think it's important that people understand that we really shouldn't use certain kind of words. We all do when we are mad, and we do this kind of stuff. But at some point, we all have to stop and just say, okay, that's enough. There is, whether you like the person personally or not, there is a real person behind that, and it's not, we shouldn't hurt people intentionally, even if those people are not having the same consideration as we might have. We still should be better, and we still should do things better. We can be better. So I think it's time to move on, at least for me. Moni Mitchell, I love you, Juan. Both your personality and the amazing content you make. Imo, you've been a wonderful contributor to the hobby space. I will continue to support and appreciate you, man. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Homer Hotwell, you also helped me get a solution out of the community too. Yes, I did. It's a solution that, honestly, it wasn't my idea. If you watch, because that wasn't the second video, most people miss that was the third video. Most people miss the live stream that I did, where I just wanted to see if I could use the reactivation, because a lot of people said, no, you're just not doing it well. You can't take advantage of it and make it yours and make it better. I tried. It just doesn't work for me. I know some people have found a way to do it. I haven't. So yeah, I tried, and someone suggested in the chat, why don't you use contrast medium to mix it into the paint and see if it fixes it? And it did. And I just did the third video after that, because I thought no one is going to watch the live stream, because no one does. So I'm just going to do that. I'm just going to put out a video and show how to fix it. That's it. Some language in that video could have been better on my side. It doesn't matter anymore. It's in the past. But that doesn't change. We all learn. We all evolve as human beings. It's important to evolve as human beings and not be the same all the time, because that's how you end up being just resentful and full of hate. No one wants that. Dave P, the other thing that Rob never mentioned was your video about adding contrast medium, which I thought was a bit dishonest of him. The thing is that in that video there are I speak about the reactivation issue in a more negative way. I offer a solution about it, but I speak of it in a more negative way. And the funniest thing is, he took the video where I was the most positive about the range as an example of my bias. I was positive. I just showcased a property that it's there, that it exists. I wasn't the one to discover it. I wasn't the one to came up with it. Stanley did. He was the first person on video. It's a well-known thing that happened. The thing with the reactivation is it doesn't happen always, and it doesn't happen to everyone. It's too random. It's too inconsistent. It depends on too many factors. And that's, if it were more consistent, it would be better. But it's something that you cannot predict, and it's too random for me. For example, I was talking to Adam, and using different primers and his local weather and whatever, it doesn't really happen to him. Almost nothing. But for me, it's just mad how strong it happens. Whatever reason that is, it just happens. It's on camera. It's there during the live stream. It's right there. You can see it with your eyes. It just happens. I don't know why, but it's just true. It's there. Most people forget about the live stream. I had some crazy comments, and I won't go into that, but yeah. I quite like the IP Silver. Awesome, awesome coverage. Yeah, it's they have good metallics. Also, not trying to imply that you were working as a double agent, where some more just so thinking that the awareness of certain aspects can result in better products for customers their own. Yes. If he made an article talking about that, about how it's important to disclose your affiliation, to disclose who you work with, there is a valid question there. It's a valid question there. But he didn't do that. He took that good premise and he twisted it into something awful. And it is a shame, because I would have commented in the video, I would have offered my friendly comment, and I would have offered my point of view, friendly, and even offered to do a live stream with him or whatever. I'm not a bad guy. I'm not an angry person. I just, sometimes when someone does something to you really bad, you cannot help yourself. When it comes to acrylics, I use artist type ranges for quality reasons, for example, golden or schmink. These brands are far longer on the market and they formulate them on a frequent schedule. That's how you should be doing things. Evolving is important, and yes, there's a fantastic brands. I really like Scale 75 artist range. I just bought a bunch of them in Talavera. You can see them there. Look at that. There. Shining into the red light. They are fantastic paints. Focus on me. Yes, focus on me. Fantastic. I have a scales paints from Scale 75, Vallejo, Army Painter, Chimera, Watercolors, Citadel, Golden, Liquitex. Yeah, I have all of those, and I also have Ammo Make. I also have, I use Ammo Make. I use Reaper. I mean, all of the brands. Why wouldn't you use all of the paints? Money Mitchell, if you, I'm with you, Juan. An honest review is worth 10,000 times more than a bias or potential deceiving one. Rather know the truth than yes, man. It was greatly informative. I still have several poly pens and color chart for them. Yeah, a difference for color to color doesn't. Yes, that's the other thing. The reactivation is more prominent in the colors that are not naturally more fugitive. So people that do art painting know that certain colors are more fugitive, that's the word that they use, than others. Reds, blues are colors that are naturally more fugitive. They naturally do that. So those colors are more prominent in the speed paint range as well. That's what I was talking about consistency. The issue with reactivation is not so much that it happens, because if you know about it, that's okay. You can prevent it. The issue when I did the review, is which most people forget, is that at the time of making the review, it was not a known issue. It wasn't advertised in the literature of Army Painter, so people didn't knew what they were buying, and that's not good for anyone. It's not good for Army Painter, not good for the consumers, and not good for anyone. It's important to know what you're buying. It's crucial, because if you know the paints reactivate, that's fair deal. You know that happens, you can prevent it. It's easy. It's just a layer of varnish. You're done. You can paint on top. No issues. The problem is if you don't know it happens. The issue of taking advantage of it is that it's not consistent. Simple enough. It's very inconsistent. It's hard to take advantage of it in a consistent and repeatable way. It's just weird. It is a weird property. It's a weird thing. I have metallics from those companies, plus old ones and craft paint ones, mixing great unique metallics. I really like the metallic color range from Army Painter. It's quite good. And Vallejo in the game color range, also, I think they also have colored metallics. Maybe I just dreamt that. Maybe I did. I think I did. Yeah, they don't. Sorry about that. I just kind of had a brain fart there. David, how's the Bretonian night going? Oh, the Bretonian night. The Bretonian night, it's I did a little bit of work behind the stage, off camera. what I finished painting. Look at those. Focus, focus. There you go. It looks. This is all oils, by the way. Oils over acrylics. You can see a little bit of the shine of the oils there. I'm really happy with that. It looks amazing. I also finished the other side with the blue. Whoa. Funny enough, I didn't enjoy painting the blue with oils either. There you go. It's all oils. Super easy to do, but it was less nice than the other sides. I just need to finish it. I need to find a time where I can just go and do everything, but I haven't. Hope Silver and Steel New Vallejo game color metallics are better than the previous. Yes, they are. The silver is fantastic. The silver reminds me quite a lot to the Model Air Silver, which is the best silver paint ever made. I will maintain that. It's the best silver paint, especially to edge highlight. And it just feels the same. It's so good. The other steels are also really good. Really fluid. They are not thick, so that's awesome. I like the golds less, but my main issue is that, but this happens to all the golds except for Retributor armor, is that they don't cover well. I like, if I were to use them, I would probably base coat with Retributor armor and then use the lighter golds to highlight, because they are quite transparent. They're more transparent than Retributor armor. They are not bad paints, it's just more transparent than Retributor armor. So I think it will work better for highlights and use something that covers so much better for the base coat. I honestly don't have a clue how Citadel have managed to make a gold that covers so well. This is just witchcraft. Retributor armor is witchcraft in a bottle. You try any other gold from any other manufacturer, it just doesn't cover. It doesn't cover. Because I don't know why. It's just how it is. It's because the mica used for gold, it doesn't have covering properties, basically. But I don't know what Citadel have done with Retributor armor. It's just magic. I don't know what it is. It's literally witchcraft. But the silver is fantastic, and the steel is also good. But the silver is just outstanding. Excuse for a live stream. Yes, I just need to find the time. I'm also. Oh, let me just plug my tutoring. I offering now a one-on-one private online tutorings. I have 2 tiers on my Patreon. One for 45 minutes a month and one for 3 hours a month. If you join, if I fill all of the slots for, let's say, 3 months consecutive, I would consider taking this as a full-time job. It's that crucial for me. It's that much money. And if that happens, you will expect more live streams, more videos, even maybe taking Twitch, all of that stuff. And this is very exciting. I'm not going... And if it happens, I promise I won't make a video saying I'm quitting or something like that. I hate those videos. I'm really excited because if I can maintain a series of constant students, like a constant level of on my Patreon, it might be what I need to make the jump into a full-time, and that's so exciting for me. So if you want private one-on-one tutorings and you want to help me make the dream and get something awesome in return, go to my Patreon and check the levels. There are still slots available, both in the Green Knight, which is the 45 minutes, and in the King, which is the 3 hour a month level. See you there. Agree, BMA Silver is amazing. Well, if you like VML Silver, the new game Color Silver is just as good. I don't know if it's the same, but it feels very good. It feels fantastic. It feels just the same. It's fluid, covers amazingly well. Edge highlights like a dream. It's a fantastic paint. That is also witchcraft. Ralph Malishware by the Vallejo Metal color range for silvers and steels. Hello, Lance Steel. How are you? Well, I think we have done. I've been here for 2 hours. I think that's more than enough. I've done the review. I've talked about what happened in the past week from a more kind of warm place. It is not like writing on Twitter. This feels warmer, at least for me. Maybe it's the bright lights hitting on my face, but it kind of feels warmer. It kind of feels more natural to me. Oh, Ace of Fish Champions. Other skill levels preferred for individual lessons? No. If you want to improve, there is a place for you there. That's all. The only thing you have to have, or you need to have, is a way. Depending on what you want. If you just want to talk about painting, if you just want to get some coaching, so to speak, just this kind of thing can work. You show me some pictures like we did here, and we talk privately about them, things that you can work on, things how you can work on them, and we could do some private coaching. That's one option. Some people like that. If you want to improve your painting in a technical way, I need to see you painting. You need a way to film yourself or to stream yourself painting, so I can see what you're doing and give you pointers or show you in my own setup, and then you try to replicate it. It's very important. So if you have that, that's a way to go. And no skill level is needed, because anyone can improve. There's always room for improvement. Obviously, I doubt someone like Infernal Brush would benefit from my classes because he's better than me. But as long as you like what I do and want to improve yourself better, there's a place for you there. Oh, thank you, Howard Holby, and thank you for everyone that's been here. I'm going to stop now. I need to rest. My head hurts, and I want to grab something to eat. See you in the next live stream and in the next video, which will be this Dark Oath chap. Really excited about that. Thank you very much, and catch you in the next one. Bye.